Hey guys, HackerSploit here, back again with another video, and welcome to the all-new bug bounty series. Now, for those of you who've been following me on Twitter or actually read the update on YouTube via the post notification or the community section, you know that I have essentially started a bug bounty series, and the reason I started one is because many people have been asking me for one, and I've been sort of pondering over the various ways I can approach it, and I thought, why not approach it with a real hands-on approach, because as I said, I've been getting into it again, and it's been really cool and exciting. I've got a few actually found a few vulnerabilities, so I've been taking part in a few programs over the last 1 or 2 weeks, and I've really been enjoying myself, and I thought, why not make a sort of a walkthrough of what I do, what tools I use, and the vulnerabilities I've been able to find, and of course help you in your journey. So in this particular video, I'm going to be showing you all the tools that I will use and the tools we'll be using in this series. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, for the operating system, I'm currently using Kali Linux because it pretty much comes installed with all the tools that I need, and I don't have to go over installing them. But for those of you who are on Windows and Mac OS, more specifically Mac OS, you can essentially install Java, the Java JRE and the Java JDK. They'll essentially get you set up for Burp Suite, and of course you can use the Community Edition. I'll be primarily using the Community Edition because I don't want to sort of segregate the audience, where I'm using the Professional Edition and they can only use the Community Edition. So if you are on Mac OS, I'm pretty sure you know how to use the package manager that comes with macOS. I'm not really sure about the name, but in any case, I'm using Kali. You can use Parrot if you so wish, and the first tool, of course, that I've mentioned is Burp Suite. All right, so Burp Suite, for those of you who don't know, is an intercepting proxy that has a repeater, sequencer, etc. So it allows you to modify requests and of course automate vulnerability detection, and also allows you to perform brute forces, and of course, as we know, it also has a spider. Now, when it comes down to the browser, of course, I would recommend using Chrome, which I will install later on. But for this particular video, I'm simply going to be focusing on the extensions or the add-ons that you can use. So first of all, let me just open up the browser and I'll show you what add-ons I recommend you use. So for example, the first add-on you should have installed, of course, is Foxy Proxy, which allows you to essentially enable the various proxies that you have set up, and that is particularly for the use of Burp Suite. So you can set up the proxy automatically with Foxy Proxy right over here, and of course you can enable the Burp Suite proxy once you're ready to use it when you begin your spidering process. All right, so that is the first plugin or extension, whatever you want to call it. The next one is Cookie Editor or Cookie Editor Plus, whatever you feel is essential for you. It essentially allows you to edit your particular cookies when performing authentication. When you're performing authentication tests, etc. You get the idea. The next tool or the extension you need to have installed, of course, is Built With or Wapalizer, whatever you choose to use, whether you're using Chrome or Firefox. I personally use Built With because I just like how it works and how it sorts out all the data. So this allows you to essentially take a look at what languages, what technologies the site that you're currently browsing was built on. So again, it also gives you CMS information and much more. So you can check that out for yourself. They're all free, so you can take a look at them. All right, now of course, when it comes down to other intercepting proxies, you can also use Zap. However, I'm not going to be using Zap in this video series. I'm going to keep it very homogeneous with the tools that I use. All right, so let's move on to the next tools. Now for fuzzing, I personally use WFuzz, or whatever you want to call it. So WFuzz comes pre-installed with Kali. So if I hit enter, we'll just give it a few seconds to load up. So again, for those of you wondering what exactly WFuzz is, WFuzz is essentially a fuzzer and discovery tool that allows you to discover web content by using word lists. All right, so you can take a look at the usage here. It allows you to essentially brute force the particular website and discover web-based content. You're essentially fuzzing the website for various results given the particular word list you're using. All right, so I'm not going to get into the usage. We'll be taking a look at it a little bit more as we move along. The next tool we're going to be using is Derb or Derbuster, whatever you want to use. The usage is pretty similar. With Derbuster, you have the graphical user interface. But again, for those of you who don't know, Derb and Derbuster are essentially used for brute force, to essentially brute force directories and the file names on web application servers. Alright, so it's essentially used to find various files on web servers or misconfigured files, essentially allowing you to find files that are not publicly exposed or you're not able to get a hold of. Alright, now for subdomain enumeration, of course, I usually use two tools. One of them is NocPy and the other one is SubLister. So NocPy essentially allows you to perform subdomain enumeration with word lists. Alright, now that's very important because with SubLister, it allows you to perform subdomain enumeration with the use of search engine. So I have them on my desktop here, and I will have the GitHub repositories for you. So this is NocPy. We also have SubLister. Let me just see if I can find it here. That is SecList. I'll get to SecList in a second. So we have SubLister right over here. So already I've cloned them to my desktop. The links will be in the description. All right. So let us check out Noc first. All right. So Noc again is very, very simple. NocPy, and we will launch up NocPy here. All right, so NocPy, we hit enter, and again, this allows us to essentially perform a subdomain enumeration with word lists or with the help of word lists. I'll talk about SecLists in a second, but for now, again, the usage is very, very simple. We'll be taking a look at it all. So for example, I can type in NocPy, and of course, I type in the domain and the word list if I want to. So for example, I can type in HackerSploit.com, and if I wanted to specify a word list, I can say user share word lists and of course sec lists right over here, and I can go ahead and take a look at all the discovery options here for the subdomain enumeration. All right, so that is NocPy. Now we talk about SubLister. So we have SubLister here, and again, we can simply just launch it right over here. Make sure you install the requirements if you haven't already. So SubLister, we hit enter, and of course it'll give you the usage right over here. So you specify the domain, and this will use open source intelligence or OSINT, which essentially uses the various search engines to enumerate all the potential subdomains that are currently exposed. So for example, if I type in hackersploit.com, I don't have any subdomains for that particular domain. Sorry about that. I don't have any particular subdomain, so you can essentially take a look at all the search engines and the other sources that it does use. So for example, Baidu, Yahoo, Google, Bing, Netcraft, DNS Dumpster, VirusTotal, etc. And again, because I don't have any subdomains for this particular domain, I'll not enumerate anything. But of course, it's a very, very powerful tool. I've been able to find various subdomains with this tool. Excellent tool. Now, while this is scanning, or we can actually just terminate that right over here, let's talk about SecLists. All right, so SecLists are essentially a great collection of lists for assessments that contain usernames, passwords, URLs, fuzzing strings, and common directories or files and subdomains. All right, so it can be used to enumerate a lot of information. That's typically why I prefer using SecLists. Any penetration tester or bug bounty hunter will tell you that SecList is a must-have. All right, so you can take a look at the description here. SecList is a security tester's companion. It's a collection of multiple types of lists used during security assessments, collected in one place. So for example, for discovery, you have, for example, you have DNS, you have DNS list, infrastructure, SNMP, variables, and web content. So if you take a look at web content, for example, you can see we have the Burp Suite Paraminer, we have CMS lists here, URLs, web services, and of course you have all the common backdoors, Apache lists. For example, one that I like using the most is the JavaScript miners, for example, when essentially enumerating potential miners on sites. So all that good stuff. I'll be taking a look at the usability of this with you guys as well. But SecList is very, very important and very, very useful. So definitely check that out for yourself. All right, now the next tool we're going to be utilizing quite a bit is Scrappy. Now, most of you might not have heard of Scrappy, but Scrappy essentially allows you, or is a web crawling framework that allows you to create your very own web crawlers that essentially can take the place of the spidering functionality with Burp Suite. Of course, it uses Python, and I'll be showing you how to create your very own for your particular projects. But for now, just get that set up, and I'll be getting into that as we move along. All right, the next tool we'll be using is CyberChef. So CyberChef, I've already taken a look at it in one of the Hack the Box videos, probably the most recent one. And essentially, CyberChef allows you to essentially perform encoding and decoding of various algorithms right over here. So you can check that video out to see how to use it. Again, it's an extremely useful tool. I recommend using this for whatever decoding or encoding you're essentially performing here. It also allows you to perform detection, which is awesome. So definitely check that out. We'll also be using Google Docs and all the various Google Docs for file enumeration, subdomain enumeration, which again I'll talk about as we move along. Now the other tool I like using, which is an online or web-based tool, which is What CMS. So What CMS allows you to detect what CMS is currently being used. So for example, if I type in HackerSploit.com and it'll essentially detect the CMS that I'm using, it essentially performs the same set of functions that that built with or Wapalizer would do, except for the fact that it only works with CMSs. So if you are working on a site or you have a if you have a target and you are essentially wondering what CMS it's using, it will essentially enumerate what particular CMS is using. Of course, the great feature is that it detects up to 467 potential content management systems. So for example, for HackerSploit.com, we have WordPress 5 version 5.1.1, which again can give you an idea of what's running on it. So you get the idea. Talking about CMSs, we of course will be using WordPress Scan, Joom Scan, and yeah, we'll be using those CMS tools for potential vulnerability detection. So they will not be extremely common, but of course they can be used to enumerate users and potential vulnerabilities with plugins or themes that are being used. All right, for SQL, we'll be using SQL Map. Of course, SQL Map is more of an automated tool, but I'll be showing you how it can be used really well. I know I haven't mentioned any particular cross-site scripting tools because that again it requires its own video, but for now let's just focus on the tools that are going to be used most commonly. All right, so now let's talk about Striker. All right, so if I just go back to my desktop here and we talk about Striker, and I'll open up the, sorry, that is a capital S. Sorry, Striker, and we'll launch up Striker here. Make sure you install the requirements. And we'll open up the GitHub repository right over here so you can essentially take a look at what this tool is used for. Alright, so Striker is an offensive information and vulnerability scanner that allows you to check and bypass Cloudflare. For those of you asking, retrieve the server and retrieve server and the various server headers, fingerprint the operating system for the web server, detect the content management system. So total of 197 plus CMSs are supported. It launches WordPress Scan if you are using WordPress or if that particular site is using WordPress. It retrieves the robots.txt, who is lookup, check if the target is a honeypot, port scanning with banner grabbing, dumps all kinds of DNS records, all that good stuff. So the thing I like about Striker is it essentially allows me to detect whether we are working with Cloudflare. The default CMSs also get me the robots file, and more specifically, Striker is very good at enumerating DNS information. So for example, and you can take a look at the installation process here, it'll tell you to enter the target. So I can enter HackerSploit.com. Right over here, it'll give me the IP address, and of course it'll tell me whether we are using Cloudflare, which I am. So it tells me it's detected the CMS. Do I want to run WordPress Scan? I want to hit no. So there we are. Honeypot probability is 30%. Trying to gather who is information. It also enumerates all the various ports that are currently open. So we have the DNS records and the MX records, which are quite important here. And then it starts using the Intel modules. So we have the alpha, beta, and the gamma modules, which I'll explain what they are used for in future videos. But again, these are pretty much all the tools that I'll be using. In the next set of videos, I want to be focusing more specifically on, so you can take a look at right over here, the subdomain that we were not able to enumerate with sublister because it went off open source intelligence. Right over here, we were able to enumerate a subdomain that I've kept hidden quite well actually. And right over here, we have the other websites that are currently running on that particular web server because I use a shared web server. Although I want to migrate to a dedicated server later on, but for now, these are the sites on that particular web server. So this can also give you a bit of an idea of what other sites are running and potential targets that you can exploit, and of course get access onto the web server from which you can, of course, attack the particular site that you had in mind from the beginning. All right, so that was a mouthful. All the links will be in the description section. You can also check the post I'll be posting on the forum that again will contain all these tools plus a few others that I haven't mentioned in this video. So that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Let me know what other tools you guys will be using. The next video is going to be focusing on methodology and the documentation of all the particular vulnerabilities or all the data that you get, and essentially how to keep yourself organized. And then we can get started with basic vulnerabilities and taking a look at sanitized cross-site scripting, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comment section on my social networks or on the forum at hackersploit.org, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace, guys.